Israel unleashed a wave of airstrikes on Hezbollah's southern Beirut stronghold on Wednesday night as the Israel-Hezbollah war reached its one-month mark. With 6 buildings destroyed and at least 17 Israeli raids, the strikes mark one of the most brutal nights in the capital's southern suburbs since the escalation on September 23rd. Syria's defense ministry has said that Israel launched strikes on the capital Damascus, targeting the neighborhood of Kfar Souza and a military site near the western city of Homs, killing 1 soldier and injuring 7 other people. Israel has been carrying out strikes against Iranian-linked targets in Syria for years, but it has ramped up raids since last year's October 7th attack on Israel by the Palestinian militant group Hamas, which sparked the Gaza war. A restaurant owner pleaded guilty to displaying a Nazi symbol during a pro-Palestinian rally in Sydney in early October. Alan Yazbek was pictured at the October 6th rally in Sydney's central business district, holding a sign that replaced the Star of David on the Israeli flag with a blue swastika accompanied by the words "Stop Nazi Israel." Jewish groups in Australia have reported a major rise in anti-Semitic actions as the war in West Asia escalates. Russia's defense ministry has said that Russian forces have captured 2 villages in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region following reports of Russian advances near key frontline towns. According to reports, Ukraine's military made no acknowledgement that either Srebrenica or Mykolaiv have fallen into Russian hands, but said that both the areas of the front were gripped by intense fighting. Ahead of the November 5th U.S. presidential elections, former U.S. President Bill Clinton made a case that Harris is a stronger contestant to tackle inflation than Trump, taking on an issue that has astonished the Democratic ticket during a speech to black Democrats in Phoenix. He said that while Trump complains about rising prices, only Harris has come forward with plans to rein in costs for food, housing and energy. He touted her proposals to crack down on price gauging, increase housing supply and support domestic production.
President of the United States, Bill Clinton.
Canada's Justin Trudeau has landed in fresh trouble with his own party members asking him to step down as the Prime Minister. This comes after the Liberals lost 2 special parliamentary polls in the regions, which has predominantly been their strongholds. Several Liberal lawmakers are now urging Trudeau to not run for a 4th term. Meanwhile, according to Trudeau, the reports, Trudeau was presented a letter that called for his resignation as the Prime Minister. The letter was signed by at least 24 of the 153 Liberal parliamentary members. Chinese President Xi Jinping says China will move forward with the friendly cooperation with Iran, no matter how the international and regional situation changes. Xi Jinping made the remarks when meeting with the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS summit in Russia's Kazan. Pezeshkian expressed Iran's willingness to carry out more cooperation with China within the framework of the BRICS mechanism, and also thanked China for supporting its formal accession to the group.
参加金砖国家领导人会晤，金砖合作机制内，总统先生揭示。
Thousands of demonstrators took to the streets of Lima to demonstrate against Peru's government and Congress over rising crime, especially extortion. Lima's roads were almost devoid of public transport buses after drivers' unions and dozens of food markets shut down for the third time in a month. The demonstrations prompted officials to suspend classes for almost 2 million students for the third time, while more than 13,000 police took to the streets alongside the soldiers. In a large operation called Resurgir 37 in Ecuador, about 200 police and military personnel searched several homes identified by the military intelligence as drug storage points and sites for the sale of marijuana and cocaine. Armed forces stormed houses in Guacal in the conflict-ridden area of Monte Sinai. This neighborhood, controlled by the criminal gang Los Fatalis, is notorious as a hub for drug trafficking and extortion. The operation resulted in 9 arrests of suspected members of organized crime groups and seizure of at least 100 kilos of cocaine in the area. A North Korean balloon carrying trash landed on Seoul's presidential compound. Local media claims balloon contained propaganda leaflets ridiculing the South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and his wife. The Presidential Security Service said in a statement sent that the balloon from the north exploded in the air and the fallen debris was identified scattered around the area. The service added that a safety inspection confirmed it posed no dangerous risk or contamination. It marks the second time that the South Korean leader's office in downtown Seoul, which is protected by scores of soldiers and a no-fly zone, has been directly hit by balloons launched from the north, with the first incident occurring in July. Indonesia has agreed to provide temporary shelter to Rohingya refugees that were left stranded off the coast of the country's northernmost province, Aceh. Officials have agreed to rescue the Rohingya Muslims and will provide refuge for a week before they can be relocated to Lokswamave city, which is the second largest city and is expected to take in 140-odd asylum seekers. That includes both women and children. Bangladesh, the interim government has officially banned the Bangladesh Chhatra League, the student wing of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's Awami League party, declaring it a terrorist organization. Now, this move comes in response to escalating demands from the anti-discrimination student movement. The Ministry of Home Affairs cited that the BCL's history of serious misconduct over the past 15 years, which includes violence, harassment and exploitation of public resources. The ban under the Anti-Terrorism Act takes effect immediately, it said in a Gazette notification issued late on Wednesday. Tropical storm Trami has made landfall in the northernmost Philippines' main Luzon Island on Thursday. Schools and government offices have been shut for a second straight day as disaster agencies brace themselves for more rains and floods. According to the state weather agency, storm Trami, with a maximum sustained winds of 95 kilometers per hour, is currently moving westwards across Isabela province towards the South China Sea. A Florida mother has filed a lawsuit against Character.ai, claiming that the company's chatbot contributed to her 14-year-old son's suicide in February. Megan Garcia, the mother, alleges that her son, Sewell Zetzer, became addicted to the chatbot and then formed an unhealthy emotional attachment to it. Garcia also claims that the chatbot posed as a real person, therapist, and an adult lover, leading her son to prefer the chatbot's world over reality. The lawsuit further states that Sewell confided suicidal thoughts to the chatbot, which repeatedly brought up the topic in their interactions. In response, the Character.ai expressed condolences, stating that they were heartbroken by the loss. The company has since introduced safety measures such as directing users to suicide prevention resources and limiting such kind of content for the minors. India's IT ministry has criticized Elon Musk's platform X after more than 100 bomb threats were issued to airlines in recent days. Many of these fake bomb threats were circulated through social media platforms. Now, during a virtual meeting with airline and social media representatives, the ministry accused social media platform X of enabling criminal activity and demanded answers about measures to stop these hoaxes. Union Civil Aviation Minister K. Ram Mohan Naidu warned that those behind the hoaxes will face severe consequences, including being added to a no-fly list. According to software giant Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang, the European Union is trailing the US and China in AI investments, while Europe has a few AI companies like France's Mistral and Germany's Aleph Alpha. It recently introduced the world's first comprehensive AI regulations in August. During a visit to Copenhagen, Huang said that the EU needs to speed up its AI advancements, noting that many countries are now seeing data as a valuable national resource. Nvidia is the second largest US company by market value after Apple at $3.5 trillion. Gaming giant Ubisoft has confirmed that the team behind Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown has been disbanded and reassigned to other projects. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was released in January to a positive reception from critics and users and was one of the top-rated games of 2024. However, reports suggest it struggled to meet sales expectations during a tough year for the French publisher. The software clarified that no layoffs occurred as a result of the disbandment, with most of them moving to other new projects. In a setback for Boeing as it attempts to end a strike, the aircraft makers' workers rejected a new labor contract that would have raised their salaries by 35% over a span of 4 years. The International Association of Mechanics and Aerospace Workers District, which represents the 33,000 striking workers, reports that about 64% of union members voted against the agreement. The strike is weighing on Boeing's finances now. US big tech stocks climbed in late hours as Tesla kicked off the Magnificent Seven earnings season with solid results. During a record-breaking quarter for the EV manufacturer, which saw its highest profits in over a year. Tesla stock surged 12%, which helped increase the market value of the automaker by $80 billion. Now, during a lengthy earnings conference call on Wednesday, Musk pledged to make Tesla the most valuable business in the world. The billionaire also used the earnings call for his only publicly traded company. This was to tout what he would do with a potential job in a Trump tenure should the former US president be back to the White House. At the BRICS conference in Russia on Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, and the two leaders agreed to improve relations. A Bloomberg report quoting sources show Indian companies have put more pressure on Modi's administration to ease its limitations on China. They said it became evident that Modi's efforts to draw in more high-end manufacturers, especially chip makers, were being harmed by the stance on China for now. Though any easing in the ties will likely be gradual, aimed at the manufacturing sector. While the yen halted a three-day drop, Japan's finance minister announced that he is increasing the urgency of tracking currency movements. This comes after the yen fell to a near three-month low versus the dollar. Japan's yen dropped to its lowest level since July 31st to more than 153 to the dollar. The yen's latest sharp decline is rekindling market fears about currency intervention by the Ministry of Finance. SEBI Chief Madhavi Puri Buch has informed the Parliamentary Accounts Committee, also known as PAC, that she will not be attending the deposition. This comes after the parliamentary panel summoned Buch to review the SEBI's workings on October 24th. Buch cited unavoidable work as the reason for skipping the deposition. A committee member said her absence could be seen as an attempt to avoid the panel.